Hello, people. It's me, the underdog of the underrated, Izzy, and welcome to the first episode of LP Confessions. Tonight's feature is a goodie but a classic one, in which it needs no kind of introduction whatsoever. You know what it is. You've seen it in the arcades. Let's blow shit up. It's Afterburner 2. Yeah, let's bump this thing up to the hardest difficulty because for some reason I just like it that way. Recipe up and down. Well, it doesn't matter. Shit. Trigger type, missile. Okay, that'll work. Now, what I'm doing, should you know, is I'm using a new model emulator. This is a 3.64. And I love autofire. And this is a 3.64. This is the recent model of Afterburner 2. Of Fusion. So I thought I'd use Afterburner 2 as a great way of, as its test subject. So what's been going on in my neck of the woods? Well, previously, yes, I told you that I've been dragged into everything else, which has nothing to do with me. But yet, it's like, oh, I'm supposed to know. Actually, I'm not supposed to know. Actually, I'm not supposed to really care. So, here's the skinny. As of late, we've been getting a notice. My guess is it has something to do with the fact that we're having more and more new neighbors coming about. And most of our neighbors are, well, Mexican. Our last neighbors were black. So what happened was, after all this, after all this, well, we somehow got some kind of notice. So what's been going on is, well, shit's been going on. Stupid shit. Now, thing is, aside from what I've been doing, aside from my Let's Plays, I've been part of this. I've been part of this ordeal since I don't know, early this week. Oh damn. So what has been going on is just that. So really, aside from what I've been doing after hours, which is basically this and mainly thinking, really. I've been doing a lot of thinking about my life and partially what I'm thinking of is, my future. Of course, I'll still be doing Let's Plays. Trust me, I plan on keeping this computer because this computer has been through heck and high water. So, really, I mean, to me, that's what I do. I like doing Let's Plays. What kind of bonus stage is this? Anyway. Is this even worse than... No, can't be worse than Space Harrier. So aside from that, I'd like to say that most of what I do now is, I'm basically trying. Let's just say that. I'm basically trying to hold up my own sanity throughout all this. Just the other night, while I was taking a break, I was taking a short break from doing Final Fantasy. Well, the last episode of Final Fantasy, anyway. So what happened was I did take a nap, which I can't really take a nap these days. Because for some reason, somebody is going to wake me up. I haven't been able to get much sleep because, people would call me, well, at least my cousin, she would call me in the most idiotic of times. And really, I lose plenty of sleep. Another thing that's going on is, well, my book is near completion as far as payments are concerned. So that's awesome. Another thing I managed to do while throughout all this is I managed to I managed to register for AX of this year. I'm wondering who else is gonna go because I live in California, Los Angeles, California. I'm like not too far. I'm I'm really not too far from the convention center. Really, it's like what maybe a 20-minute drive there from the house. So yes, I am going this year, like I go every year, and that's when I will take my official break right after AX, because I do plan on visiting my girlfriend in I do plan on visiting my girlfriend in Connecticut since we haven't seen each other since 2010, last year. So I plan to stay there for the summer because the first thing I planned to do on my list was once my book took off, I was going to take a well-earned vacation from everything. So yeah, that means any let's play that I'm going to do from here on is simply going to be in the future. So therefore, that's one less thing for me on my list. That's one less thing on my list when I do it ahead of time. But anyway, aside from that, aside from that, I really don't have any plans as far as making my books. Uh, should I decide to go back to college, I'm going to just take courses into writing and just work on that. Like I said, should I? It's kind of like this. As much as I would like to go, I want to be the one to actually feel like, I want to go because I'm doing this for my sake. So to me, that's that's what it means to me. Because I know my folks have been telling me, well, you should go back. You know what you should do? They don't tell me the same thing you've been trying to tell me for years. I said, trust me, I tried doing it for somebody else, it didn't work. So if I do it for myself, that'd be the only way I can just get it over with. But that's only until I'm ready. At least until I've gained quite a bit of at least until I actually you know that's stupid in putting a quite stupid to put just to have everything just sitting there and that's the only thing that can destroy you. It's a mountain range. Anyway. What I'm doing right now is, well, I'm just trying to make the best of what I can do now. Another thing I could never understand these days is what the hell is with these people talking about the end of the world and nobody knows when the hell the end of the world is. They say it's 2012. You know, I feel I don't believe any of that bullshit. It's not much in saying, oh, well, you see, oh, well, you see, I see things. Yeah, you know what? I see things too. I see that you're an idiot. You don't, you have no clue about the end of the world. And the only thing I can say is, surprisingly, science looks ahead, so that's kind of hopeful. So I'm kind of thinking, okay, so what is this world going to be like in, say, 8 years? Are we going to be like Gundam? We're going to be living in colonies and whatnot? I can't say. I mean, if it's going to be like, Paradigm City, does that mean that I'll have a that does that mean I'll have a giant robot? I'd like to have a transformable robot, a transformable super robot. I can turn into a car, to a jet, to a super robot, and back to a car and a jet. Something like a transformer, but not as bad. A lot of things I've noticed on TV is just getting stupid and monotonous. Like, for instance, I watched the Super Bowl over this weekend. Although I'm really not into sports. I mean, not knee deep like any other sports individual. I'm not a hardcore fan. Just let you know. I only saw just highlights of the Super Bowl. I didn't really look at all of the Super Bowl. I only checked the scores. Aside from that, I didn't do anything. Really, all I had on that day was 2 pizzas by myself. Yes, I was at home by myself. Because I was tired. I was really tired after doing all that singing at church. And it really does take a toll on you. Trust me, when you're singing in a choir and you basically practice for 2 solid hours, non-stop without a brief pause to catch your breath, that really does take a toll on you. So the funny thing is, I do get tired very easily. Maybe it's because of my disability, or maybe it's just I'm just not really into, going out after church, doing this and doing that. Like, oh, we're gonna have a get together. Yeah, that's fine. That's just me. I mean, sometimes I like to, but other times no, I don't want to because we tend to stay too long. wherever that is. It's like we go over to a friend's house. You know, I wouldn't mind if I were just to stay, stay over at this house for like maybe 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours. No, you know, nothing too big. Nothing too long. We don't want to outdo our welcome. We don't want to, overstay and whatnot. That's why I don't really go out that much. If I go out, I'm going to go to somewhere like comic book expos, anime expos, that sort of thing. I'm going to go to a place in which I can actually stay there for a good 5 hours or so. Be in be in every little nook and cranny. Spend money in the arcades. At the same time, let my inner geek out. And just enjoy myself. Oh well, mission accomplished. Anyway, there's a whole lot of things that I could possibly talk about. But since this game is like 23 levels long, and you're just going back to back to back to back, well, there ain't much to say. So in this case, I have been the Top Gun of Top Guns. Izzy! And with that, there are plenty of things I could do right now, but you know what? I'm going to do this because I'm pretty much done with the game, but hey, that doesn't mean I cannot let any of you not enjoy the coolness, which is Afterburner. I can never understand why most people would basically do such stupid things as they throw a get together, but they want you to stay for hours and hours on end watching the same damn movie over and over and over again. You can never understand that. It's weird. Very weird. I could never understand why whenever you look at a commercial, there's always one commercial in particular asking you to reach deep down in your pockets and give to these starving children in this foreign country in which we can't seem to manage on our own. So we're asking you if you can reach deep down in your pockets for 35 cents and 35 cents and send help. Why don't you just shut the fuck up and, really, seriously? No. I'm not saying you no money just because you're over there. This is why I feel. You went over there to this poor village, this piss poor village. You look like someone from Jurassic Park. You came out of Jurassic Park, and then on top of that, then you're gonna say, "Oh, well, you see, we need help. So we're gonna ask the common folk if you can help us from the States." Should ask the people who funded you. Ask the government. Don't ask us. Ask the government if they can fund you for what you're doing. But don't ever do that. I mean, that's just wasting time and energy. That's just silly. And about the Super Bowl, yes, I didn't really watch all of it. I only watched highlights. And on top of that, when I actually did come online, the first thing I checked was Christina Aguilera's version of the national anthem. I couldn't reply to it. I mean, really, it's 2 minutes. Those are the most important 2 minutes of your life, in which you are going to have to just be in awe. Really, I was thinking to myself, okay, now everybody's looking up. Why is everybody looking up? That was my first. That was my. That was my first thought about that. Why is everybody looking up? I saw one guy actually shed a tear, but I kind of wonder what was he really shedding that tear for? How pitiful the song was, or the fact that the Blue Angels were flying overhead? I'd be crying too if her singing was that damn bad. Really, I would. Anyway, I mean, there are a couple of things that I often think about. I really didn't care much for the Super Bowl anyway, because it was just basically just for, it's basically just for the fact that you were just there to watch 4 hours of football and commercials that were more important than football. I don't really go out to movies that often. I mean, even if they were pitching for, you know, a trailer for Captain America or the Green Hornet. I mean, I know comic books are coming, and comic books are coming out in storms. Comic book movies are coming out in storms. And my feelings toward being comic book turned movies are as simple as that. Consider this: if you were to basically, I don't know, go by source material, you be on to something. I'll give a good example. If you were watching Speed Racer, you'd watch the anime first. Then you watch the movie. I mean, you watch every single part of the anime. You'd watch the classic version, you'd watch the later versions, and then you've watched the one that Nicktoons had, the one that was really short, didn't have that much story to it. I would be watching this, and I'd be thinking to myself, damn. You watch the live action, and you find out that this is canon to the anime. You know, Speed actually wins the race. Finally, kisses Trixie after all this time. And yet, Racer X, whoever he was, I don't know. I really didn't know what to expect out of that one. I mean, I was like, silly, very silly stuff. I mean, there's the Green Hornet, then there's gonna be Captain America, and then there's gonna be Thor, and I know they did Iron Man, and I know they did X-Men. I know that they did Spider-Man and all, and Hulk. And I'm looking at my pictures that I got from this comic store. Excuse me. Thinking to myself, it's hard to actually hate comic book movies, but you gotta wonder What the hell? It's like if I were to read Sonic the Hedgehog, and then I played a game, and then I would go into this. Then there's a movie coming out. I mean, I've seen this. I've seen the series right after the game. That means I've seen Adventures. I've seen Sonic. No, I've seen Sonic Saturday, Sonic the Hedgehog Saturday, and I've seen Sonic Underground. Read a bit of a comic. Like I said, I really couldn't get into comics. I mean, it was too much, and plus I didn't have a comic store very close by in which I could go to purchase comics and follow issue by issue by issue. So that's why I started going into manga. I went into manga, and I remember when I went to Japan. That was the first thing I did. I went to Japan. My mother sent me Yu Yu Hakusho. That was my first manga. So I've been into manga ever since. I like a good story. So now I have like dozens and dozens of manga, and it's just sitting there. And I can say, wow, just wow. But you know what? There's so many things that could be said, and I don't really want to go into a tangent or rant all night long. So, yeah, I've just beaten Afterburner. And my thoughts about Afterburner are simply it's fast, it's furious, and yet if you blink, you'd actually miss a bit of it. They really need to make more games like this. So, yeah, this has been my LP confession. My first episode of LP Confessionals, rather. And, I sure hope that, you join me in my next LP, which is going to be Phantasy Star: The End of the Millennium. And I will jump back on Fire Emblem sometime later today. And Fire Emblem is a very short game. I could just easily breeze through it as long as I don't lose that many people. And following Fire Emblem, I'm going to do an ActRaiser. And even Shining Force, I don't know. I'll probably do the second part, but I think after Shining Force, I'm just going to stop and just play something a little bit old school. But after Fire Emblem February, please join me in my next feature, which is March of the Super Robot Wars, which basically I'll play the known Super Robot Tyson games. And one I have a script on because I have a translated script of what's going down, what everybody's saying, and all. So join me in that. But anyway, I think I've spoken enough. I'm gonna kick back, relax for a bit, somewhat try to get some sleep, and I will see you later on today or this evening with more craziness, more madness, more of everything else. Because this is Underrated Games, where no game is ever left forgotten. This has been Afterburner 2 for the Sega Genesis, aka Sega Mega Drive. And the underdog has spoken. And I am out. Until the next episode.